Hello and welcome back. Today, we will see how to make a complete video, exploiting and controlling the potential of artificial intelligence within Fliki. To be exact, we'll get help from this very powerful platform in creating a video aimed at promoting the tutorial you're watching right now. Fliki is a video editor which, starting from a text, generates a narrative voice and associates video sequences to the content that has been provided. To obtain a good result, it is necessary to write the text taking into account two fundamental factors. The first is that the paragraphs of the text will automatically become the scenes of your video. And the second is that to make the final result credible, you must consider that what you write will actually be a speech. Therefore, it must have the characteristics of a spoken discourse, which are often very different from those of a written article. So let's get started. Let's open any text editor and write the first scene. Then the second. The third. And so on. For all the scenes of our video. Remember to leave a blank line between one scene and another, creating paragraphs so that Fliki can recognize them. Once the file is saved, we can open the Fliki editor. When we access the Fliki home, we are asked to create an account. We can do it by clicking on this button. Instead, if we already have it, we can access it by clicking here. Once inside the application, by clicking on this icon with the moon or the sun, we can decide whether to use the light or dark layout. I prefer dark colors, they hurt the eyes less. We can also create folders to organize the projects we will carry out in the future. As you can see, I have created one, where I have inserted all my previous works. By clicking on New Folder. Instead, to create a new project you have to click on New File. In the window that opens, name the video we want to make and choose the language. In our case it will be English. So we leave the field unchanged. Finally, we decide if we want to create a project containing only audio or complete with video. Then click on Create. And here we are inside the project. Here the screen is divided into 3 parts. 1, 2, and 3. On the left we find a section called Common Scene. What we will insert in this box will appear for the entire duration of the video. For example, by clicking here we can choose the backing track that will accompany all the scenes of the video in the background. But we can also add other levels, such as text, an image in an image, a logo, or another audio file. But we will explore this aspect in other tutorials. Immediately below we find the first scene of the video we are producing. Inside we find 2 levels already created by default, a narrative voice and a layout of the video content. Finally, below, we find a button with a plus sign that is used to add a new scene to the video. But let's delete it now. We don't need it at the moment. In the central part, we find a display monitor that shows the preview of the project we are creating and a control panel that is used to start and stop the video. What we find in the third part on the right depends on the level that we select from time to time while working. Because here are the controls for configuring each of the levels. After exploring the Fliki interface, we can start configuring our project. To do this, click here on Setting. Within the window that will open, we can once again decide whether the project will be exclusively audio or complete with video. Obviously, we want it complete. Here instead we decide the form that the video will have. We can decide to leave it square, change it to vertical, or horizontal rectangular. Since we want to make a promotional video to upload to YouTube, we set it to horizontal. With these checkboxes, we decide whether or not there will be a crossfade during scene changes, and whether any static images we use will have a zoom effect to create movement. Once everything is configured, we can click on Save. Now that our project is configured, we can proceed to copy and paste the text of the narrative voice that we wrote earlier. And we paste it right here, in the space dedicated to writing the first scene. As you can see, as I said at the beginning, Fliki created a scene for each paragraph it found in the text. In this way, we will have the structure of the video ready. By clicking on the name of the item, we can replace it and choose one we like best. As I said before, on the right panel we find the controls to adjust the voice, the volume, the speed, and the option to show or not the subtitles with all the appropriate settings. I prefer to create subtitles directly from YouTube, so I disable them. Remember that these settings only affect this layer of this scene. In fact, selecting the next scene, we will still find the active subtitles. Until now we have only dealt with the audio of this scene. The time has come to take care of the video as well. So, to make Fliki choose a clip that is consistent with the text entered, we have to click on Photo Pick or on Auto Pick Media below. And he offers us a video among those he has in his vast archive. If we are not satisfied, we can click again until it offers us a clip that satisfies us. Now, we can test our scene. Meanwhile, I remember you that if this video was useful to you, you can subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss all the next video tutorials that we will publish as we go. But let's continue with our project and move on to the next scene. This time, however, we will do a manual selection of the clip. By doing so, Fliki will not select the clip based on the text of the narrator, but will do so based on the text that we would write in this space. In this way, we can give Fliki more targeted information about the type of image we want it to offer us. Although Fliki also works well with different languages, if you write in English in this field it will certainly fare better. Then we type artificial intelligence, as this scene explicitly refers to this concept, and we start the generation. We select the clip we prefer and wait for it to load. As you can see, having selected the layout section of Scene 2, on the right side of the screen we have the controls to change its appearance. Under the medium heading we find 6 rectangles. The first sets the view to full screen, and is selected by default. The second, third, and fourth divide the screen into 2 boxes of different proportions, depending on which one we select. The fifth and sixth divide it into 3. Clicking on any of the selectors that divide the screen brings up controls for the direction of the panes: horizontal or vertical. Furthermore, we find an additional button, with which we can populate the new box with a different content. The cover button, on the other hand, is used to decide whether the additional boxes will cover the main video or if they will all be completely visible. We do the same thing for all the scenes in the project. Once all the scenes of the video have been created, it may be necessary to leave space for any end credits, or to perform a fade out with traditional editing software. For solve this problem, we can change the duration of the last scene. To do this, we check the actual duration of the scene in question. Find it here. And the total duration of the clip we have chosen for it. Here she is. Now, by clicking on the More in the last section, in the list that will open, select Custom Duration. In the text field, enter a number of seconds greater than the current duration of the scene, but less than the duration of the selected clip. Otherwise, it will repeat to fill the missing time. Congratulations! The video is over. We just have to export it and download it to our computer. Then click on Export and wait for the time necessary to export. That's it. Now click on Download and enjoy the result of our work. If you want to see it, I'll leave you the link in the description. Now I just have to say hello. Remember to subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell, and if you found this video useful, put a nice like. I would be delighted. Thank you. And see you in the next video.